Hello guys and welcome back to Big Brother, and like I said, I didn't really expect to be making daily videos on this, but there's just been too much juicy gossip to miss out on, and I thought I would give you guys more daily updates because we've got nominations that happened last night, and boy were these juicy. It's very clear that there are groups of people in the house that do not like each other. There are certain people who are ready to burn the entire house down just to get another person out. I'm excited to get into it, and I hope you guys are too. Now, just so you guys are aware, if you are not in the UK, there are multiple ways that you can watch. The first being get a VPN, watch on YouTube. On the ITV channel, they do have the first week of episodes up if you guys do want to binge them. You do have to get a VPN, I think. I don't think they're available anywhere outside of the UK, but I could be wrong. And also, you could also get a VPN and use the ITVX app, or go onto your browser and look there. I have also linked a link in the description on, I think it was the last video, of a streaming site where you can watch it. But obviously, try the legal routes first before you try the illegal ones. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well, and I will see you guys in the episode. Let's go. So we got to talk about the shopping task, because what an absolute catastrophic failure they had. Oh my goodness. It's one of those things where I feel like ITV, they are starting to work out how to balance it quite well. So far, the first week of this Big Brother has been pretty much perfect. We've had barely any pointless tasks. We've had a shopping task that was actually highly entertaining. We've had great contestants, great moments. It's been really, really well managed. And the fact that they failed the first shopping task of the series, it was just the icing on the cake at the end of the day. It was just mwah, gorgeous. But I did find it incredibly hilarious how they just sat there and listed off so many things that they did wrong. The fact that Danny chatted back to the captain. The fact that the crow's nest or something was left unattended for a while, and Chris was getting very antsy about that. He was like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And then you had people not wearing their pirate outfit all day. There was just a lot of different things. The mermaids curse, that was apparently a negative. They shouldn't have accepted that. That was quite funny. So genuinely, I feel like this was actually a really, really good shopping task, and the fact that they failed it so spectacularly just added to the drama and the entertainment of the episode, which, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It is just entertaining at the end of the day. But interesting how Ella was sort of like, oh, it don't matter, it don't matter. Although that's not her accent. It don't matter. It don't matter. Guys, it really isn't that deep. And I just sat there and I thought, do you know what, Ella? Shut up. The only reason that you're acting like this is because Chris is upset, and because you've got this vendetta against Chris because he didn't want to engage in a showmance with you. Because obviously you wanted a showmance, then you wanted your little reality show. Oh, me and Chris. Cutesy. Like, I actually just get such fake vibes from Ella. It's unreal, and we'll discuss that more throughout the episode. I've got a whole segment on it coming up. But either way, back to the shopping challenge. Obviously, they then have to sort out the shopping budget. Now, if you guys have never seen UK Big Brother before, they effectively give them a book full of everything they can get, and they get a budget, and they have to budget their week in accordance to what they want to buy. And it is bloody hilarious to watch them, because you got people like Chris who are just like, just get me spaghetti hoops, that's all I want. All I want is spaghetti hoops. And then you got other people who are like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you got to manage like the basics: milk, tea bags. You've got to manage bread, eggs, all of that kind of fanaffle. And then you've got people going, oh, I fancy some Nutella. No, bestie, this is not time for Nutella. You're on a basic economy budget, and you think you're getting Nutella? Absolutely not. That shit's £5 a basket. Basket? A tub. You know what I mean. Anyway, either way, it was just funny to watch. You had Ella being narky with Jojo, which was a bit like, ugh, again, are we really perpetuating this? But like I said, we're going to talk about that in a second. The best part of the entire thing was when Chesney went into the diary room and he was like, so, is there any chance of us getting some sourdough bread? And Big Brother was like, you're on a budget, economy, shopping budget. What do you mean you want sourdough? You don't get sourdough on this budget. Honestly, I do like sassy Big Brother. It does make me chuckle. So, you know what? big props to Big Brother. I'm kind of getting on board with this Big Brother, I can't lie. He's been quite entertaining this series. So it's time to talk about the weird vendetta that Ella has against Jojo and Chris, because there was a moment where she was outside bitching to Angelica about the whole thing, and I was just sat there like, what possesses you to be so hate-filled towards Jojo and Chris? Like, I don't understand. It does come across as sort of like, she's like, oh, I don't even find him attractive. But clearly you came into this house thinking that you would find him attractive, and you're pissed off that you now don't, and you haven't got that game plan that you came in with. That's what it's giving. Because, I'm sorry, but this whole thing just feels really, really weird. Because she's like targeting all of her hatred towards those two when they're just genuine friends that are just having a laugh, and it is fun. And yeah, they do spend a lot of time together in the house, but equally, if I found somebody that I really, really liked in the house and I really got along with, then I would also stick with them. I wouldn't just sort of like make time for everyone, including the people that are my ops and don't like me, just for the sake of being fair to everyone and giving my time across. Like, my time is precious and my time in here is short, so therefore I want to spend time with the people that I enjoy spending time with. That's just how I feel. Maybe that's not a winning game strategy, I don't know, but I do just feel like Ella's in a really, really weird place, and it's only in the last 2 episodes that she's really sort of come out of the woodwork. Like, there was a whole moment yesterday, I think she was on her period, and Chris was basically like, oh, you're not doing anything, you're just laying around all day. And she was like, yeah, because I'm on my period. And I was like, okay, you know what? Fair game. Fair enough. But equally, don't then take that away from the people who are doing work and don't complain about that. Do you know what I mean? You're more than welcome to rest, but then you can't complain when other people are just asking you like, why you're not doing any work. Because from an objective point of view, that's what it does look like. Until you explain yourself, that's what it looks like. So, just putting that out there. Obviously, you got your reasons, and that's fair and valid. But, until you explain those reasons, you can't be pissy at people for being upset, do you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm just not an Ella fan. I've realised she's just not my cup of tea. She probably wouldn't be my cup of tea in the house, I can't lie. The way that she kind of spreads negative gossip around the place and bitches about people, it's just a bit catty, it's a bit nasty, and it just makes great television, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't endear her to me as a person. Yeah. So, we have a rule break. Yep, sound the klaxons. We're too cheap on this channel to afford real klaxons, so you're just going to have to imagine them. Wow, wow, wow. There we go. That'll do. So, the rule break effectively stemmed from Donna and Chris having a conversation in the garden. And they were kind of just sat there, and Chris was trying to get information out of Donna about nominations. And then she was kind of shutting him down, being like, we can't talk about this. And he's like, yeah, I know. But then he went, oh, I think it's fair to say that Trisha and Patsy will vote for each other. And I just don't think he understood the rule is you cannot talk about nominations at all. Not just you can't talk about your own nominations or somebody else's nominations. You just cannot talk about nominations in general. Which is really different to, obviously, the US Big Brother, where nominations you have to talk about because it's all about getting a majority to get people out of the house. But in the UK Big Brother, it's a lot more secretive and it's a lot more backstabby. So people don't know who's voting for them. And when they go up, it can cause tension. It can cause drama. It's a lot more entertaining. I gotta say, it is just very, very entertaining to watch the nominations. But either way, Chris was called out, made to sit in the celebrity wheelie bin of shame, and was asked to write a rap. Oh, good God. This man has no flow. Not a single ounce of flow went through his body this entire experience. It was painful to watch, but also incredibly hilarious. I don't know whether he just wrote it and was like, okay, this kind of works, this kind of rhymes. I would have written it like a poem. I probably actually would have written it in iambic pentameter, because it's easy to get a beat out of that. The ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. It's just easy to get that kind of flow, because I feel like rap without a music, it's hard to get flow in there. But anyway, he did it. Was it a punishment? It was more entertainment for us, let's be honest, and for the rest of the housemates, and to mug him off. But I don't know. I don't know what kind of punishments they could give them that would really be bad. I feel like if it's a second punishment, then losing the right to nominate. And then if it's a third one, then going up for eviction is the punishment. I feel like that's how it works. Like a lenient one to start off with, then a more severe one, and then like the severest, which is going up for eviction. I feel like it's absolutely fair and valid. Bloody hell, guys. I hope you're excited for nominations because I am super excited to talk you through all of this. So, we are going to start with Angelica, and Angelica decided to vote for Jack and Patsy. Now, this confused me because I was like, okay, Jack, I really didn't expect to be nominated by a lot of people because of sort of last week. I realised that maybe Jack was voted in place of Mickey, potentially. I don't know. But Patsy was another one that really surprised me. I don't feel like Patsy's been sort of a negative person in the house, potentially. I don't know. What I've seen, she's been quite entertaining, quite funny. Other people have been negative towards her, and that's caused her to feel down. But either way, I didn't expect these votes. But for Jack, her reason was there's been no communication. Conversation can sometimes feel one-sided, and like she's trying to get information out of him, but he doesn't want to get information out of her. And we'll actually talk more about this later on because Jack had something to say on this, and I found it very, very interesting. But I feel like Angelica almost does too much. She's a presenter, she's an interviewer, she likes to get to know people, but it can sometimes come across as just that. And like you're not taking a genuine interest in someone, it can come across as quite interviewee. But again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Patsy, this whole thing, like, I don't remember it in the previous episode, but my mum made a comment about it. Someone in the comment section made a comment about it. And I was like, I do not remember this moment where Patsy asked Donna whether she was okay, but ignored Angelica. And now Angelica feels like that is a big enough reason to nominate her. I was sat there like, what? What are you talking about? This is genuinely the most wild and crazy thing that I've ever heard in my whole life. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, you could have just aired that out with her right then, rather than just sort of like nominating her behind her back. Feels a bit snaky. Feels like if you were genuinely upset, you would have had it out with her. But I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that. Up next, we have Ella. Ella voted for Chris and Trisha. Chris, she's asking whether he's genuine. Is he genuine? I feel like he's gatekeeping a lot of time, and there's not really much to get to know him. He doesn't spend much time with other people. And I was like, you know what? You've already aired those opinions earlier, so all right, cool. And then with Trisha, I kind of see where Ella's coming from. Trisha loves to name drop. Loves to name drop. Oh, I saw Nelson Mandela and he hadn't seen a baby in God knows how long. And I was like, oh, that's a really, really cool story. Until I realised, like, no one else in this house has met fucking Nelson Mandela. And you know that. You know that for a fact. So you're kind of just name dropping and making your life seem so interesting and vibrant and amazing. And that's so cool. But then it does alienate people who haven't had as vibrant a life and haven't met the kind of celebrities that you have and the kind of public figures in the world. It doesn't exactly endear you to people. And it makes that person feel like they've got nothing to add into a conversation with you because they've got nothing that they can relate with you. So I did kind of agree with Ella. I was surprised that Ella didn't nominate Jojo. That was a shock. But coming up, we actually do have Jojo's nominations. Jojo's nominations were Patsy and Ella. Now, again, Patsy was a confusing one. I really didn't expect her to vote for Patsy. But apparently, Patsy can be quite finger pointy when it comes to blaming people, and was also the ringleader with the whole sort of like Mickey stuff yesterday when it was like negative towards him. I feel like Jojo has a lot of forgiveness in her and definitely forgave Mickey for everything that happened. And I feel like now she was trying to defend him in some kind of way. I don't know. It just felt weird. This nomination confused me a little bit. I can't lie. Like, it didn't really make it didn't really make sense to me because I was like, we didn't see a lot of that yesterday. Yeah. Oh no, the ringleader comment was about giving up on the pirate stuff. My bad. Sorry, I've just had that brainwave. It wasn't about the Mickey stuff. It was about the fact that the shopping challenge was lost because of people not wearing their costumes. That wasn't the only reason. It was one of, but Patsy was apparently the ringleader in that. which was interesting because I thought she was in her costume all day. Maybe stuff was edited out that we didn't get to see. But again, I feel like editing decisions like that, I don't know. I feel like I need some flashback moments. Do you know what I mean? I need some like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Because sometimes they mention things and I'm like, what? Anyway, next up was Ella. She feels like conversations with Ella are completely forced. Like, there's nothing going on there. There's no, like, genuine connection with her, which is fair and valid. And also, she overheard the convo where Ella was bitching about her, which was really, really funny. I found that hysterical that Jojo overheard that. But yeah, that means Patsy and Ella get another nomination each. Jack was up next and he voted for Angelica and Ella. And this was what I was talking about earlier with Angelica. Jack's reason for nominating her was that he feels like conversations with her are interviews. Like, she's trying to find out information about him. And I almost wonder whether, like, he's one of these people that just lets conversation flow naturally. He's not going into a conversation to find out about you. If it happens, it happens. But he's just there to have a good time and engage in conversation. I actually thought that Jack came across as really, really funny in this episode. We'll talk more in a little bit about why that was. But his conversation in the diary room about Ella was hysterical. When he was like, she asked if I could switch beds with her, and I hadn't even left yet. And so now I'm stuck on the loud side of the room and I don't want to be there. I wanted my old bed, but what was I meant to do? Say no. The entire conversation was hysterical. It was so David Platt coded and I genuinely do find him quite funny. I feel like a lot of people who are unfamiliar with him won't get him. But as someone who's watched him on Coronation Street since 2012 and who has sort of been listening to podcasts, I watch him sometimes on TikTok, I listen to interviews of him. Like, I do genuinely really like this guy. I do feel like people don't get him and get his vibe and his humour because I was cackling the entire way through that in that confessional because it was so funny. But yeah, those are his two nominations. Daly voted for Danny and also voted for Chris. Now, Danny because he feels like he's on 24/7. He's overbearing, he overrides people, especially during the shopping, like, list thing. I don't know. I don't feel like Daly's adding anything, so I don't really feel like you can comment on someone being on 24/7. I'd rather someone be on 24/7 than off 24/7, which is literally you. And then he also voted for Chris because he jumped on the curse yesterday very quickly and that lost them the challenge. Danny was also complicit in that, so... You know what? I'm one of these people with Daly where I just actually don't care for him. And at this rate, he's going to skate through to the final and nobody's going to vote for him. And he's going to end up being 4th or 5th or 6th place, depending on whatever is the lowest. I just don't get on with him. I don't vibe with him. He's just boring. Yeah, like, what am I meant to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, he is just dull and boring, but yeah. What am I meant to do? Patsy was up next, and Patsy voted for Danny and for Trisha. Danny because of the comments in the task, and Trisha because... Okay, we've actually got to talk about Trisha. Okay, I might actually do Trisha's nominations back to back with Patsy's nominations, but Patsy voted for Trisha because apparently Trisha said something along the lines of, you're from LA, I'm from New York, so we won't get on. But they're both from fucking East London, which is so funny. And I actually was just sat there like, what are you on about? And Patsy was like, yeah, I just didn't appreciate that comment. And I was like, you know what? Fair and valid, Patsy. Absolutely fair and valid. Because then we move on to Trisha. And Trisha's nominating Jack and Patsy. Jack because... I don't even remember. Why did she vote for Jack? What did she vote for Jack for? My notes are not complete. He doesn't open up as much. I don't think people have to open up to you. I don't feel like they owe you their life story. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you're a presenter, you're an interviewer, so you feel entitled to everybody's life story because that's what people feel natural doing when they're around you. But he obviously doesn't. He obviously doesn't want you to know about his life, so back off. Do you know what I mean? I feel the same about Angelica as well. Like, if you're trying that hard to get to know someone and they're just not wanting to get to know you back, maybe it's just not the vibe. Do you know what I mean? It's just not the vibe. But I feel like Trisha's different. I don't know about that. But anyway, her comment about Patsy was genuinely dead ass to the camera. She's from LA, I'm from New York, and we just don't mix. And I was like, that's one of the poorest excuses I've ever heard in my whole life. Because even Patsy was like, that's fucking ridiculous. And Trisha was so sort of like, yeah, that's exactly why it is. I was like, what? What are you talking about, bestie? What are you actually talking about? What are we doing here? What actually are we doing here? So up next we have Chesney. Chesney voted for Trisha and Patsy. Trisha because he feels like she changes the subject in a conversation to fit what she wants to talk about. And this is something that I have noticed a couple of times in minor conversations. Like, I haven't got any specific examples, but I have noticed a couple of times when they're talking about one thing and then she'll bring up something else and then that's where the conversation will go. And it can get frustrated, especially when you're talking about emotional things or something, and then she's changing it to, oh, I met Nelson Mandela. And I'm like, okay, bestie, right, okay, moving on. Patsy, she said that they were coddling Mickey, and I don't feel like we were coddling him. I feel like we were just trying to live with him. So this was just a flippant comment that she made yesterday where obviously Mickey's behaviour was just reaching an apex. And she was like, I'm sick of the fact that everyone's coddling him. But Chesney's under the impression that they're not trying to coddle him. They're just trying to manage him so that they can live with him and just live a peaceful existence. And he didn't appreciate that from Patsy. Which, you know what? Fair and valid. There it is, guys. Is this the first time I said fair and valid this episode? Probably not. Let's be honest. I say it all the time. So up next we have Donna. Donna voted for Chris and Jack. I was surprised that she voted for Chris and Jack, but it all stems back to the exact same reason, and it's the fact that both of them lied to her about knowing about the fish room. And she's very deeply upset about the fish room, as I'll tell you later. But she was not happy with these two under any circumstances. And do you know what? I would be fucking pissed off too if I had to sleep in a room full of stinking fish guts. No, thank you very much, good sir. Chris was up next, and Chris voted for Patsy and for Trisha. There's a lot of similar pairings. Patsy and Trisha, Patsy and Jack, Trisha and Jack. All of those kind of pairings. It's becoming very apparent who's facing nominations this week, or who's facing eviction. Sorry, guys. It's so difficult because they always go, who's facing nomination? And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, who's up for nomination? I'm like, oh, stop it. You're infecting my brain with that kind of language. Anyway, he voted for Patsy because he believes that she believes that other people are game players. And she's wondering, oh, he's wondering whether she is wondering whether other people are game playing, but they're not. It's a complicated reason. It was a bit complicated. And with Trisha, sometimes she can take things too personally, and he doesn't appreciate that. Like, sometimes there'll be a joke said and she takes it to heart. This all stemmed back to the Michael speech about just immigration and the fact that she turned it into something Islamophobic. I don't think he appreciated that, and I think that it's just a delicate issue, and she spoke up a little bit too soon. I think sometimes you got to let people walk into their own graves and then have a go at them rather than preventing them from falling in and then you looking like the potential, like, bad party. I don't know. And last but not least, we have Danny, and Danny voted for Patsy and for Jack. Patsy because he's just not sure about her, and the fact that she got defensive after he tried to squash the beef yesterday. Again, I feel like she has a right to be defensive. You did call her out and say that she is potentially a little bit like someone that you don't get on with. So I feel like she has a right to be upset. And then with Jack, he loves to wind people up, and he's been told that, and yet he doesn't seem to be changing his behaviour. I don't think he needs to change his behaviour. If he's a wind-up merchant and it's not hurting anybody, I don't feel like that's a negative thing. But if he's winding someone up and it's genuinely upsetting them, I feel like he would stop. But if it's just sort of like, oh, Jack's doing his wind-up thing again, I feel like it's not actually that deep. So we have to talk about who's up for nomination. It's Patsy, it's Trisha, and it's Jack. And if I'm being 100% honest, the person leaving tomorrow night, I think, will be Trisha. And by tomorrow night, I mean tonight, because this is Tuesday and I'm filming it on Tuesday and we're going to be watching it tonight. But you know what I mean? I feel like it's going to be Trisha. I don't feel like she has that support, sadly. I feel like Jack's got the Corey vote. Patsy's got the Emmerdale vote. Emmerdale? EastEnders vote. So I feel like it's just a tough one. It really is a tough one for Trisha. I feel bad that she's been nominated, but also I haven't appreciated her over the last couple of days. I feel like it's not been great for her. I thought she'd sail through to the final and people would be too scared to nominate her, but apparently they aren't. They absolutely are not. So that is it. I did really appreciate Jack afterwards, be it just winding everybody up. It was really funny to watch, and I did really find it entertaining. So you know what? Props to Jack. He is actually entertaining when they show him. He's just not getting shown that much, which is such a shame. So, funny quotes and moments of the episode. We had Donna with the fish guts in the bed. That was hysterical. We had Chris saying, I haven't done a day's work like that in years, which just made me chuckle. And then we had Jack giving Patsy some Mancunian accent lessons so that she can get a job on Coronation Street. That is all we've got time for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk all things eviction. Who will be evicted? Is it going to be Patsy? Is it going to be Jack? Or is it going to be Trisha? Let me know down below, and I will see you guys in the next episode tomorrow. But until then, make sure to keep on ranting. Bye now. See ya.